Imhotep Nefer Kemet. Welcome and great peace to Egypt. I am Ameny, the foreman of the potters and the overseer of the brickmakers. And I lived during the New Kingdom. I am best known for my work at the workshop of Deir el-Medina Necropolis, where I created a variety of pottery vessels for different purposes. I am credited with creating a special type of pottery, which is characterized by its distinctive black-topped and red-bodied vessels. I have crossed the time barrier to talk to you about pottery and brickmaking in Egypt. Pottery is called kerhet in our language. The native Egyptians are known for their skill in pottery, which dates back to the pre-dynastic period. That is around 6000 to 3150 before your common era. Pottery is used for a variety of purposes, from storing food and liquids to ritual offerings and burial practices. Pottery sherds or ostraca are also used for writing stories and notices, or used by students to write down their exercises. Some artists use the ostraca to make sketches for their artistic designs. Our pottery is made from clay, which is either molded by hand or thrown on a potter's wheel. The most common shapes are jars, cups, vases, and bowls. These are decorated with a variety of motifs, including animals, gods, and hieroglyphs. The primary material used for pottery is Nile clay, which is abundant along the banks of the Nile River. This clay, when fired, produces a reddish-brown color. We also use marl clay, which is found in the desert regions and yields lighter, more buff-colored pottery. The clay is then cleaned and mixed with water and other additions, such as straw, ashes, sand, and minerals. Hence, the basic material for pottery making becomes ready. Then some workmen knead the clay with their feet to ensure a uniform and strong texture. And after it is properly worked up, they form it into a mass of convenient size with the hand and place it on the wheel, which is a very simple construction and generally turned with the hand. As potters, we use several techniques to shape our pottery. The first is shaping the clay by hand, using a combination of pinching, coiling, and slab techniques. So, pinching here includes pressing and shaping the clay by hand, and coiling means the formation of long ropes of clay and arranging them to create the pot's wall, for example. In addition, using the slab technique creates flat surfaces to make box-shaped designs. The second technique is a slow wheel throwing for shaping pottery. The wheel used is turned by the left hand, whilst the right hand is shaping the vessel. Later, the foot-turned potter's wheel was used. The potter forms the inside and lip of the cup as it turns on the wheel. The potter forms the outside of the cup, indenting it with the hand at the base, preparatory to its being taken off. He has just taken off the cup from the clay. This can be also executed by using a string. The various forms of vases are made out by the finger during the revolution. The handles, if they had any, are afterward affixed to them, and the devices and other ornamental parts are traced with a wooden or metal instrument before they're being baked. Then the pot is polished by using a flint tool. The potter will then work on a fresh piece of clay. Here, he forms a round slab of clay with his two hands. The pottery work is then decorated. They are then left to dry, and for this purpose are placed on planks of wood. Then, pottery items are left to dry in the sun. They are afterward arranged with great care in trays and carried, utilizing the usual yoke, borne on men's shoulders, to the oven. They are then fired in simple, open-air kilns, which are typically fueled by dried dung, wood, or straw. Fire is below and the parts are placed either on the top or inside. The potters would carefully stack the pots into the kiln in a specific order to ensure the pots would receive an even temperature during firing. The fire will cause the clay to harden and become durable. The potter will then stir and prepare the oven. The fire rises through the long narrow tube or chimney of the oven. Your kilns are still the same as ours after 1,500 years. An assistant will hand the cup to the baker. Upon the top of the chimney, cups are placed to be baked. Even in your current time, your potters still do the same. Here, a porter carries away the baked pots from the oven. The third technique for shaping pottery is the molding technique, which involves pressing clay into pre-shaped molds made of stone, wood, or clay. The slip casting technique in pottery making is not commonly used in our country, contrary to the coiling and slab techniques. But slip decoration, however, is a commonly used technique in our pottery. In this technique, a mixture of clay and water is applied to the surface of the pot to create a decorative pattern or design, which is then painted by hand or applied using stencils or stamps. This represents some of the final products of our pottery, such as bowls, cups, vases, jars, and plates. Our pottery is often decorated with a variety of motifs, including geometric patterns, floral designs, and scenes depicting daily life, mythology, and religious beliefs. Decorations are applied using a range of techniques, such as incising, painting, and relief. The painting is done using mineral-based pigments with common colors, including red, black, white, blue, and green. In ancient Egypt, Khnum was the god of pottery, creation, and fertility. He was often depicted with a ram's head, symbolizing his connection to creation and fertility. Rams were believed to be very potent, virile animals. It was believed that Khnum created and shaped mankind on his potter's wheel, using clay from the Nile River. As such, Khnum was also closely associated with the annual Nile flooding, which brought the rich clay mud that was used in pottery making. Khnum was worshipped in temples throughout Egypt, particularly in his main center of worship at Esna, where there was a large temple dedicated to him. The temple was decorated with scenes of Khnum, creating humans from pottery on his potter's wheel. Different styles of pottery emerged throughout Egypt's long history. The pottery of each period has its special characters from the pre-dynastic period to the late period. Pottery played a vital role in ancient Egyptian society, with both practical and symbolic uses. For everyday purposes, pottery was used for storage, cooking, and serving food and drink. It was also used to create oil lamps and cosmetic containers. In religious and funerary contexts, pottery items were used for offerings and were often placed in tombs as grave goods. Pottery in ancient Egypt provides valuable insights into the techniques, materials, and cultural practices of the time. We left millions of intact and broken pottery wares. These helped you to classify the types of our pottery. However, this kind of classification was not in our minds. We just manufactured and developed what we needed in our daily life. In your current time, these artifacts are essential for archaeologists studying the civilization's history and development. One of your renowned Egyptologists called Flinders Petrie studied and classified the pottery of the pre-dynastic period. He is a British archaeologist who lived from 1853 to 1942. Petrie developed the so-called sequence dating, which is a method of dating archaeological artifacts. The method involves examining the layers of an archaeological site to determine the order in which the artifacts are deposited. The artifacts found closer to the surface of a site are more recent than those found deeper down. Petrie used this method in his excavations in Egypt. He developed a system of seriation, or ordering artifacts based on their style and age, which he used to refine his sequence dating method. This allowed him to accurately date Egyptian artifacts and create a chronological framework for studying ancient Egyptian history. He analyzed the distinguishable features of each piece of pottery, such as the shape, color, and decoration. and compared them to those found on other sites. By studying the characteristics of pre-dynastic pottery, he could give numbers to each group of pottery that prevails in a certain site. There are many pre-dynastic pottery sites, but he named the items of his seriation system after the most prevailing places where specific pottery types were found. These famous pre-dynastic centers are Merimda, Madi, Al-Omari, Helwan, Gerza, and Al-Fayoum in the north, and Tasa, Badari, Al-Amra, and Nakada in the south. By linking styles of pottery with periods, he was the first to use seriation in Egyptology, a new method for establishing the chronology of a site. Accordingly, the following numbers in his seriation system will point at a special famous site. So, from number 1 to 18, left empty for future discoveries, which could be more ancient than what he recorded. Number 19, Merimda and Tasa, from circa 5000 to 4000 BCE. From 20 to 29, Al-Amari and Al-Badari, from circa 4000 to 3700 BCE. From 30 to 37, Nakada or Al-Amra, from circa 3900 to 3600 BCE. From 38 to 63, Nakada II, or Gerza, from circa 3600 to 3200 BCE. From 64 to 76, Nakada III, or Samania, from circa 3200 to 3000 BCE. All pre-dynastic cultures are variants of Nakada I, Nakada-II, and Nakada-III. This was followed by Dynasty 00, then Dynasty 0. And finally, Dynasty I and the beginning of the historical or dynastic period of ancient Egypt. Today, sequence dating is still an important method used by archaeologists to date artifacts and understand the development of our culture over time. After this explanation, these classifications were not in our minds when we manufactured our pottery, as we developed it for practical purposes. These methods were developed by your archaeologists to enable your people to understand and chronicle our long history. However, another method called the Vienna System was developed for classifying pottery based on its form and function. It was developed in the late 19th century. It is still widely used by archaeologists, particularly in studying our ancient pottery. In conclusion, pottery refers to the transition from nomadic life to agricultural settlement, or what you call it from the Stone Age and food gathering to agriculture and food making. And then, another story of our people will begin.
Make sure to tune into my next videos. If you have any thoughts or questions, add them to your comments. Kindly press the like, share, and subscribe buttons. I'm Farag al-Sharabasi, and see you in the next episodes. Thank you.